There's a country where $1,000 a month in Social Security makes you a permanent resident, and that deal hasn't changed since 1987. Most people assume residency abroad takes serious money or years of paperwork. Today, I'll show you the 5 countries where it takes neither. And one of them asks for no income proof at all. My name is Ben. I left Germany in 2020. Since then, I've lived long-term in 7 countries and I hold 5 active residencies. I've been through many immigration procedures myself, and in the next few minutes, I'll show you 5 programs on 3 continents, and more importantly, I'll show you which one fits you best. Number 1 is Panama. Panama has been the classic American retirement destination for decades for several reasons. Everything there is priced in US dollars, so your social security check arrives and you spend it, and you don't even have to worry about exchanging any currency. Miami is only a 3.5-hour flight away, and because so many Americans already live there, it is very easy to integrate. The visa is called the Pensionado, and it has been around since 1987. You have to show a pension or social security income of at least $1,000 a month, and Panama makes you a permanent resident. And by permanent, I mean permanent. You never have to renew it and you never have to requalify, and most people have it enhanced within just a few months. And on top of that, Panama actively rewards retirees. You get discounts on flights, on restaurants, on hospital bills, and even on your electricity bill. And the government doesn't touch a cent of your foreign income, because Panama has a territorial tax system, meaning all the money that you earn is not being taxed inside Panama, even though you live there. The one thing it asks in return is that you come back at least once every 2 years. If you stay away longer than that, you can lose the residency. So if you have a pension, Panama is one of the easiest retirement places in this entire video. But maybe you heard pension and you thought, that's not me, I don't have one. And that's no problem, because the next country doesn't require one. So number 2 is Paraguay. Now, Paraguay might not be everyone's first choice. The country is landlocked, there is no beach, but on the plus side, living there costs almost nothing. So if you're after a very affordable retirement country, Paraguay could be an option for you. So to get the residency, there's a few things that you need to do. You need to the capital, which is called Asunción. You need to spend a few days at the immigration office, and then you fly home while your approval is being processed without you having to actively be there. A few months later, you come back for a day or 2, you give your fingerprints for the national ID card, and after that you stay, or your lawyer can even send the card to the US. You'll pay a few $1,000s for the lawyer to get everything done, but that's about it. In order to keep it alive, you need to visit Paraguay at least once per year. And second, and this changed in May 2026, so most videos don't mention it yet, when you upgrade to permanent residency after 2 years, Paraguay now needs income proof. They haven't specified the amount yet, but just be prepared for that fact. So a cheap backup plan is one thing, but what if you want a place that you actually would love to live in? So let's look at number 3, which is Uruguay. Uruguay is one of the most popular options for retirees in South America. It just ranked as the most peaceful country in all of Latin America. They have beautiful beaches, and in contrast to the other countries on the list, at least the ones in South America, it has real seasons. In Uruguay, you can apply for permanent residency immediately on your very first application. You land as a tourist and you file your papers, and a couple of weeks later, you're holding a national ID card. And on top of that, new residents can get up to 11 years without taxes on their investment income. Now, can you use Uruguay as a plan B, so get the residency and then barely live there? And the answer is yes, you can. While the application is being processed, you're free to travel. You just need to file a small re-entry permit every time you leave. And once you're approved, you can stay away longer than 3 years. Otherwise, your residency might get cancelled. Only thing you give up as a Plan B resident is the tax holiday, because that one only works if you actually live there most of the year. So Uruguay gives you both options. It's a solid Plan B today, and it turns into a tax holiday if you ever decide to move there full time. So now maybe your dream was never South America. Maybe you were always dreaming about moving to Europe, which is why country number 4 is Portugal. Portugal, alongside Spain, is one of the most popular American retiree choices in all over Europe. The winters are mild, the healthcare is good, and it costs a fraction of what you would pay in the States. And English will get you far enough as long as you don't move to any rural areas. And the big difference compared to retiring in, for example, Greece or Italy or Spain as a Portugal resident is that in Portugal you are still allowed to work. Let's say if you want to work part-time during your retirement. Working part-time during retirement in Spain or Italy is quite tricky, because the visa options for retirees where you can live on passive income explicitly do not allow that. The most popular visa in Portugal is the D7, and it does allow remote work. And it also requires you to have about $1,000 in passive income, and a little more if you are a couple. And by passive income, I mean, for example, dividends or pension income or rental income. Now, I said at the beginning that some residencies bury you in paperwork, and Portugal is kind of borderline. Portuguese bureaucracy is very chaotic and annoying, and appointments can take months, and sometimes you have backlogs and you are waiting for a couple of weeks at every step of the way. One important difference to the options mentioned before, you cannot move to Portugal on a Plan B, at least not on the D7. You need to actively become a tax resident and stay more than 183 days in order to be able to renew the D7 visa. If you want to have Portugal as a plan B, then you would have to look at the golden visa, but that's a discussion for another day. And if all of that talk about appointments and waiting times made you tired, you like the last option, because this visa is one of the easiest ones that you can get. So number 5 is Thailand. I live in Bangkok myself, so I'm a little bit biased. I moved to Bangkok years ago on the visa that I'm going to show you right now. The program is called the Elite Visa or the Privilege Visa, and it works like a membership because it actually is one. You have to pay one time between $25,000 and over $100,000, depending on the length of the visa that you decide upon. And you get a visa that lasts for 5 to 15 years. 5 years at the entry level and 15 years at the top level. Nobody checks your income and nobody cares about your age. You have to be in the country at least once per year to get your visa stamp renewed. But apart from that, Thailand doesn't really care if you stay a week or if you stay 12 months. There's no minimum stay requirement on that visa at all. If you want to get it, the application is quite easy to fill out and the whole process takes about 2 to 3 months until you have your visa attached to your passport. Thailand is amazing. You have everything from city life in Bangkok to island life in Phuket or Samui, or even mountain life in places like Chiang Mai or Chiang Rai. The hospitals compete with the best hospitals in the US at a fraction of the price. It's warm every single day of the year. And depending on your lifestyle, you can spend anything from $2,000 to $10,000 plus a month, depending on what kind of lifestyle you actually want to live. One thing to keep in mind that the program often raises its prices, so usually every couple of years. I remember meeting one person who actually had a lifetime visa for Thailand. In the past, they still did that, but now they cut the visa duration to up to 15 years. The earlier you get it, the more sure you can be about getting it at the right price. So which one fits you? If you have a pension or social security over $1,000, you can have a look at Panama. If you want a plan B, but you don't want to spend a lot of money or you don't have any stable income, then you can have a look at Paraguay. If you want to live in South America and you want a peaceful place, you should consider Uruguay. If you want to go to Europe, but you don't want to spend a lot on a golden visa, you can have a look at the D7 visa in Portugal. And if you want to go to Southeast Asia, but you're not interested in a lengthy bureaucratic process, you can check out the Thailand Elite visa. One thing to keep in mind is that those programs change the rules a lot. Sometimes it's pricing, sometimes it's scope, sometimes the problem is just being discontinued. As I always say, the best time to get residency is when you don't need it. If you want more advice for Americans wanting to retire abroad, subscribe and drop your questions in the comments.